For everyone not watching the World Cup, the U.S.'s leading scorer, Balogun, he got a red card last game, so he wouldn't be able to play tonight versus Belgium because the red card counts against the current game you got carded in and then also the following game. And the foul looked pretty ticky-tack to me, but admittedly, I'm a soccer casual. I like football more. That kind of collision in football is just every single play. But regardless, it was ruled a red, meaning that he wouldn't be able to play tonight. And then the President of the United States intervened personally.
So I saw the play, and I'm a person that loves sports and was a good athlete, and I understand sports really well, really well. And that wasn't a foul. That wasn't even an infraction. That was two guys running full speed that happened to crash into each other. You can't take your foot and properly place it on somebody else's foot.
All right, so this argument he's making up front as a sports knower, as he claims, it's not about intent. It is just about the action that occurred. So Balogun's foot came down on the other player's leg and rolled his ankle. So it's really about the effect, not the actual intent. He didn't have to mean to do it, but he landed on the guy's ankle. The guy's ankle bent in a serious way. So it's not actually about did he mean to do it, the effects of if it was full speed or not. It's just that it could have seriously injured the player's ankle. And this is hard for me to state because, of course, I want Balogun to play. This is actually the first time I've got some beneficial corruption. So huge W there. And I don't think it was intentional at all. You're seeing a picture, so he lands on that ankle and rolls his ankle. Now, of course, it's much more bang-bang at full speed. He's going for the ball. It happens. But once again, it's not about intent. It's just that did you endanger that player by your physical action, and landing on your ankle at full speed, potentially harming it, endangered the player. Not intent. It's the result.
He didn't do anything wrong, and he's our best player or one of our best players, a very vital player, and he gave him a red card. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't think it meant much.
20 seconds ago says he's an elite ball knower. 20 seconds later, doesn't know what a red card is. Doesn't know what a red card is, but yet also that wasn't a red card.
Then I started hearing that means he can't play in the next game, at least in the next game. I said, boy, that's a big, if it happened to another player, it would have been unfair. But when they take your best player, or just about, they have some great players, and they say you can't play, that's very unfair. That's, it's one thing to penalize somebody for the game, but how do you penalize them for a game that hasn't been played yet? It's very unfair. You can't do that. So,
two things. First, he says if it was a less talented player, it wouldn't matter as much, meaning he likely would have not intervened. So it was not about the principle. But as soon as it was our lead goal scorer, which once again, I'm happy he's going to play. But since he was a good player, he had to intervene. So, and then he talks about how can you penalize someone for a game that hasn't been played yet? What if he gets a red card in the final minute of stoppage? You just ban him for that minute. There's no punishment. So, of course, you would ban for the next game. We have something similar in college football, right? If you target, you're out for either that game if you do it early, but if you do it in the second half, then you have to miss the first half of the following game. That way, you can't just incentivize people to commit egregious fouls in the final minute of the game because there's no consequence because the game forward hasn't even been played yet. So, I'm once again doubting ball knowledge of the president.
Yes, I asked for a review by FIFA.
And when the most powerful man in the world literally asks you for a review, I think there's an implied thing there. So that review was not going forward until the president intervened. Weird situation here because sports and politics have collided, and I like sports. This is the Trump corruption that I like. I don't like rug pulling crypto investors. This is a rare corruption W, as I said. Next up, we have a clip with Kevin O'Leary, who in a weird way I appreciate because, and he does play up this kind of cartoonishly evil rich guy, but I think he's oddly fairly honest with how that group of people think. And even though it's unsettling, it is illuminating.
I always read the room first. Who is inviting me? Are they wine collectors? Mm-hmm. There's nothing worse than going to someone's home that has their own cellar and bringing industrial waste like this. You have to read the room, because what often happens is if I'm going to someone's home that I know is really into wine, I'm going to bring a bottle from my cellar.
That's worth how much?
They're not going to open it. It's going to be worth, my most expensive wines are about $5,000 a bottle. They're Burgundian wines. They're DRCs. if I'm going to someone's home that collects DRC, I will bring a Latache or a Richebourg. And you know what happens when I do
How
that?
much is that worth? It's far and away.
3,500 to 5,000.
Oh, come on.
You go online to look at it, Barbara. These
No,
things
I'm
are.
sure it's worth that, but I'm sure you're
But
not
tell you
gonna
why I'm not
someone's
really
house.
giving up that money.
Yeah.
When that bottle shows up and he sees it or she sees it, when they come to my home, they bring another DRC.
If you remember to invite them.
Of course I do. I want my 5,000 back.
They know they can't pull one over.
They can, but that's how the wine game works.
I don't think that's just how the wine game even works. I think this is telling of how the elite generally operate. So if you're in the club able to afford $5,000 bottles of wine, I will give you my bottle with the expectation for it to be returned at a later date. This is not a gift inherently or a charitable act. It's this financial code or custom. The act of giving is a performance with this implicit contract. If you're not in the club and can't appreciate my good wine, I would just give you quote unquote industrial waste. This kind of circular nature of the ultra rich is strange to normal people because these are the people that can actually afford to give gifts of large monetary value, yet they turn it into a form of indebtedness. It's a strange phenomenon. And we are talking rare bottles of wine, so that does play a factor. It's a collector thing. But once again, this is not a gift then, it's a loan. And clearly if you were to accept the actual gift, drink it, and not return equal value, then you're somehow the sketchy one in this elaborate dance. It's a prison mentality and why you don't take gifts from mobsters because gifts don't actually exist in that world. And just to do the math, Leary is reported to be worth about $400 million. The median US household net worth right now is $193,000. So a $5,000 bottle of wine for him would be equivalent to us giving someone a $2.41 bottle of wine. I'm not trying to be profound or be too deep here, but I think it's just weird how they operate. And the Cato Institute dropped an article with a series of polls in it. And of course, Cato is right, libertarian. So, who exactly did they ask? How did they ask it? All of that stuff. But regardless, I think the sentiment is likely accurate here. And what we discover amongst Gen Z, favorability ratings, socialism at 53% and capitalism at 45%. So Gen Z likes socialism more than capitalism currently. And if you're capitalist, the knee jerk here is to go into historical examples of socialism gone wrong, death tolls, or start with your economic policy, but don't do it. You just need to ask, why is this occurring? Don't assume the younger generation is the one that actually needs enlightenment here. It might be us. It's hard to secure jobs. Their wages are not near keeping up with prices. They can't easily purchase a home or a car. It's not rocket science. There was an agreement of this financial system, capitalism, that is currently not being upheld. Capitalism isn't God and it's not a form of morality. It's an economic system. It became sacred to many because it delivered extraordinary results for previous generations. But if it stops producing those results, people will reasonably seek alternatives, even if those alternatives are unsound. Also, what's really being asked here? Does Gen Z want to seize the means of production, or do they want affordable healthcare? Conflating the two is not smart. I highly doubt the majority of these people asked read Das Kapital. I think they are just desperately searching for whoever says they will ease their pain. But the worst thing you can do as someone who prefers less central control than a socialist system would implement is be dismissive here and whistle past the graveyard. Listen to the real pain and frustrations of this generation and help them out. Or it could spiral into more extreme forms of socialist ideology that isn't simply, I don't want to go bankrupt if I get sick, or I'd like to settle down with a family and buy a house and I can't. Don't run and hide behind red washing everything to be socialist or communist. If capitalism is the superior system, which I suspect it is, then it should be able to find adequate solutions to these issues. If it can't, then other forms will undoubtedly be tested. But do not stick your head in the sand here or start lecturing. We need to solve actual issues. What's happening to this lower generation is not okay.